Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode. I hope you've had a really fantastic week. So this week, I'm going to share with you the pros and cons of being a session singer. Stay tuned. Right, so I've got a lot of things happening over the next few weeks. It's December, which means it's pretty crazy in Emilyville when it comes to work. So I was supposed to do a panto and I'm not doing it anymore for various reasons, which I will talk to you about at some stage. But I wanted to share with you some of the pros and cons of doing this job, because I think some people may not have the balance right, or they're going into it with rose-colored glasses in the sense that they don't believe, like any other job, there are some parts that are not so much fun, which I'm here to give you the tea and the balance. So first things first, what I love about this job, it is fun, it's flexible. I love singing, probably already know that. And I also really love working with people. So this is a really great way to do what you love and also meet loads of people. When I say loads of people, I mean you meet people in the pub, you meet people, fans on the street, you meet people obviously that you're working with, and that changes with each artist that you work with. Sometimes you work with similar people, sometimes you work with completely different people, sometimes it's here in the UK, sometimes it's abroad. So I really love the fact that I get to sing and I get to meet loads of great people, and that's really, really cool. I also love to travel, and at this point in my career, I travel quite a lot. Earlier on, obviously, the traveling part was a lot less. But what I did like is seeing the UK. So I did a lot of stuff or shows around the UK. And had it not been for my job, I don't think I would have seen my own country as much as I have. And that's really sad, but it's true. So that part of traveling, which I am a massive traveler, I really like seeing different countries, locations, cultures, food. I'm a real foodie, and so this job allows me to do that. So I'm absolutely besotted with this job on that front. I also really, really, really love making people happy. I love people feeling like they're entertained. I really enjoy the smile on people's faces, even sometimes the tears, because even though, you know, sometimes you might be singing a sad song or something that's particularly emotional, the fact that you can move somebody in that way, it's a real gift, and I don't take that for granted. I also really love the fact that I am in control of my own diary. I get to pick and choose what I take. I know in the very beginning, you can kind of want to take everything in order to establish yourself in the industry. It is flexible in the sense you can choose to not do or do whatever you feel, but I think in the earlier stages, sometimes you feel like you have to take everything. And I'm all for the experience. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But for me, I like the fact that I control my own diary. I like the fact that I can pick and choose what gigs I take for various reasons. Some things I don't take because of political or ethical or cultural reasons. Like, for example, there's one artist that I refused to work with on the basis that he used a lot of swear words in his lyrics and also was quite derogatory to women. And as much as I think it's art and people can say whatever they want, I didn't particularly align myself with it. So I can choose to say no or yes, depending on how I feel about it, which I think is fantastic. And I know that's not necessarily the case for many other jobs, but it is a good thing about being a session singer. And another thing on the plus side, I get to wear glamorous clothes every time I perform. I get to make up my face, which is obviously probably not going to apply to the boys who session sing. They're probably not bothered about all of that because obviously they don't do makeup. But I like the idea of dressing up for work and really having like a proper outfit and heels, and I'm pretty girly when it comes to those kinds of things. So that's that. On the con side, taxes. I think that's the single most reason why I actually hate being, well, that's not of a session singer, that's being self-employed. You have to submit self-assessments every year in January in order to pay tax or not pay tax, depending on how well you've done for the year. This is my one biggest pet peeve. I'm not really the kind of person who's organized like that, and I'm working on it at the moment, but I just don't enjoy facts and numbers. Facts and figures are not my thing, especially not taxes, because there's so many different rules that I don't understand, which is why I've got an accountant, but they're still asking me questions, so that's no good for me. Sometimes with this job, although you can control your own diary, a lot of the time you're away or you're working when everyone's on their leisure time. So I find that whenever everyone's inviting me out or taking trips abroad or whatever, or doing things socially, often I'm unavailable because that's the time when I'm working. Obviously, as an entertainer, you're normally working when everybody else is having fun, which I mean, I don't know if it's a con because I'm actually having fun while I'm working, but I'm on somebody else's time. So obviously I don't have the freedom to do what I please whenever I please. So I don't get to socialize in the same way as, say, somebody who does a 9 to 5, who has a fixed schedule and they know when they're free. Another con to the job, and this is probably a personal one. I don't know if anybody else who sessions notices this, but please do let me know. I really dislike people who struggle to work in a team, people with really big egos, because it makes it really difficult to have any kind of cohesion. And let me explain. I'm used to working with lots of people in a room. So although on stage you see the artist and you see the band and you see the singers, there are also lots of other people in the crew. So you've got people like sound engineers, lighting engineers, people who do wardrobe, makeup. You've got people who do management, tour management, and all of these people are involved in, I mean, larger scale projects. I'm more referring to artists that have been signed or who are well established. I really dislike when people have really bad egos, because it makes working really difficult, because obviously you want to keep the peace. And it also makes the environment a little bit weird when it comes to the atmosphere. No one likes a really arrogant, self-centered person. And unfortunately, because there are no kind of hierarchical rules about who can do what and how it's done, everybody takes their own take on it, or everybody does things in their own way. And while sometimes it does work, sometimes you have characters that clash, and I really, really, really hate that, for the simple reason that it shows on stage. So to the outside person who hasn't been involved, who hasn't seen the backstage antics, I want to say antics, they may not be aware, but for us on stage it's almost like going on with tension, and I hate singing or performing or working with tension. It's never fun, and at the end of it you don't really get to have that kind of social bonding time, which I think is important, especially if you're going to work with a set of people. So overall, I feel like the job is pretty well paid. It's changing now, and where the money is moving. So it used to be in performing, now it's in like songwriting and PPL, royalty checks, and touring and merchandise and things like that. But there is money to be made in music, although there are many people would disagree. Music has a very, very good way of connecting people. So you get to meet people who you probably wouldn't meet otherwise. You get to travel. You get to work in very, very nice environments with very, very nice people. And I say nice environments as in 5-star hotels you get to stay in sometimes. Sometimes they're a dump, but it's just, you have to see everything. So if you were considering a job in this side of music, and I'm talking more about sessioning, working with artists, songwriting, production, that side of music, there are loads of pros. There are also loads of cons, but what I wanted to do today in this episode is just basically give a really balanced perspective on the job itself and how it works. And obviously I can't cover everything because there's so many things, and each thing will be unique to whoever's working, so I can't say that what I say everybody else will say. However, I do think that there are a lot of myths in doing this job, because people think it's either really glamorous all the time, or that, you know, you get treated really well all the time, or there's no drama. There is sometimes, but that's the nature of creatives. So guys, if you've ever considered being a session singer or a session musician, please let me know what you think about what the pros and cons are, if they're any different to what you had in mind. Also, let us know if you are a singer or musician already, whether you agree with some of these pros and cons, or if you've got your own, let us know. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the videos we post every week. We're also on social media, so if you like to interact on there, we're on Tumblr, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Twitter. So make sure you send us a message there, or like some posts, or we'll interact with you. All that remains for me to say is have an amazing week. Get that music out of your system into the world so that we can all hear it. And those of you who are sessioning and musicking over the December period, please do take some time for yourself. I know it's a really busy period and people will want all of you, grabbing you every direction, but make sure you do take some time with your friends and family and enjoy the season as well as working. So guys, see you next week. Bye.